Let's take a look at how I put these 4 holes into the lid. First of all, in order to make this clear to see, I changed the opacity of the lid so that we can see through it and see that these holes in the lid line up with the holes in what I call the base. I'm going to drag back in the timeline to before I created those holes. So let's drag this back, and so here's my lid. I'll turn off the base, and so later on I put the fillets in here for the O-ring, but let's go ahead and put the holes in here again. So what I did is I started a new sketch on the top of this part, and I'm going to make sketch number 1 visible. Now sketch number 1 is on the bottom of the lid. I need to place my holes from the top of the lid. So I'm going to hit P on the keyboard, P for project, and then I'm going to select these 4 corners that we use to place the hole in the base. And so I'll select those 4 corners of that rectangle. And so now we see those 4 points projected to the top of the lid. I'll turn off the visibility now of sketch number 1, and I'll finish the sketch, and I'll go to the hole command, and I'm going to tell it multiple holes, and I'll select these 4 points. I'm going to tell Fusion that I want to go all the way through the lid, and I set it to be counterbore. Now you can set whatever hole type you want. I set it counterbore and a clearance hole, and I set the size for an M5 socket head cap screw. Now you could select whatever type of fastener you're going to use, and then selected the 4 points. Now because I've done this once, it's already filled that information in for me. So there are the 4 holes in the lid. Now I've already done that, so I'm going to undo that and just go back in my timeline to where I had done that. So there are the 4 holes in the lid. And let's say that I edit sketch number 1, and I set this dimension as 100. Let's say I want it to be the same as that one, so I'm going to change this to 80. Or maybe if I want it to always be the same as that one, I just click on that and replace that dimension number with this dimension, and then this will be a function of that one. And then either way, we see that fx, it's a function of this dimension. When I say OK to this, now it moves those holes for me, and everything stays lined up. The holes in the lid stay lined up with the holes in the base. If I undo that, so we see back here the holes were out here, and actually I thought I'd be able to redo that. I can't do a redo, but you saw how that worked. Let's see, let's do one other thing. I'm going to drag my timeline back to where I did the holes in the base. Now if we zoom in here, it might look like there are threads here, but those aren't really threads. Those are cosmetic representation of threads. If we 3D print this, we're not going to have any threads. I'm going to add a chamfer for lead in to this. So I'll do a chamfer, and I'm going to select these circles. Now notice I'm selecting a circle, not a helix. And I'll select those circles, and I'm going to change this, let's say to 0.5. Let's do 0.75 as my chamfer size. And so I put these chamfers in here. Now it's important that you do this in this order. We wanted to select a circle, not a helix. I'm then going to right click on this hole feature, and I'll say edit that feature, and I'm going to change this. Instead of cosmetic, I want those threads to be modeled. So I'll come down here and I'll tell it to be modeled. Okay, so now we see that we have a lead in for this thread for the fastener to start. And if I take my timeline back to the end, so we see our holes are all lined up. And again, if I want to edit that sketch number 1 and change this distance to 80, everything will update because we've done everything with a parametric history to the model. So you see those holes are moved over, everything lines up. I can hide sketch number 1, and if there are any more questions, ask questions.